Hello friends, welcome to our last lecture of Learn Stock Market from Scratch series. In the previous videos, we discussed how to screen fundamentally strong companies out of thousands of companies listed on the market. Now, we need to understand how to do valuation of those fundamentally strong companies to check whether it makes sense to buy those stock at the current market price or not. I'm Manoj Goyal, co-founder at the Wall Street School and a registered company valuer. I started my career in the investment banking domain in year 2005 with Moody's Analytics, post qualifying my chartered accountancy course. From there, I moved to Goldman Sachs in the M&A segment. There, I worked on various M&As and the IPO deals. In this video, we are going to discuss two different methods of valuation of a particular stock with a case study of Infosys. At the end, we will discuss how to apply weightage to various methods of valuation to arrive at final value of stock of Infosys. So friends, what we are going to cover in this session, price versus value. So here we will understand difference between price and value of the stock, understanding about Infosys. So we'll take example of Infosys to understand valuation of the stock. Methods of valuation. So here we will understand what are the various methods to do valuation of a stock. Valuation of Infosys, we will apply these methods of valuation to do valuation of Infosys, and then we will compare this valuation with the price of Infosys. Price versus value. Friends, market price of the stock of the company is not necessarily to be the value of the company. It may be more than, less than, or equal to the fair value of the stock, as one is price and other is value, and both may be different. Valuation helps us in taking an informed decision about investment in a particular company stock. So, with the help of valuation, we can understand whether it makes sense to invest in a particular company stock at the current market price or not. Now let's understand this with an example of Infosys to see whether it makes sense to invest in a company stock of Infosys at the current price or not. Friends, before we move to valuation of Infosys, let's understand about Infosys. What's their business model, what's their products and all. So Infosys is a technology company which provides IT consulting and software services. So group service include application development, product code development, system implementation, and system engineering. Guys, Infosys target businesses specializing into financial services, insurance, retail, banking, telecommunication, and manufacturing sector. Friends, this is share price performance chart of Infosys over the last 2 years. We can see that share price of Infosys has increased from 798 rupees per share, which was the price of Infosys a year back, to 1317 rupees per share as on date. This is 65% increase in the share price of Infosys over a period of 1 year. This is substantial increase in the share price of Infosys over the period of 1 year. Friends, you can see before this growth period in the share price, over the last 1 year, the share price was sort of stagnant. It hardly changed. It was trading in a range of 700 to 800 rupees. But over the last 1 year, this price has increased by almost 65%. Okay. Now, we know that Infosys is a fundamentally strong company, but we have to see whether it makes sense to buy this stock at this current price, considering that there is a huge run up in the share price of this stock over the last 1 year. So does it make sense to buy this stock at this current price 1317? This we will understand with the help of valuation. Does Infosys valuation justify this price or not? Let's do that. Valuation of Infosys. Friends, we'll first discuss methods of valuation. So broadly, we have two valuation methods: relative valuation and intrinsic valuation. Relative valuation calculates value of the company based on how other companies like Infosys are priced in the market. Okay. Under intrinsic approach, we calculate value of the stock based on its cash flows it is expected to generate over its entire life, discounted to the present value. So basic difference between relative valuation and intrinsic valuation is relative valuation is the valuation based on comparison, whereas intrinsic valuation is the valuation based on expected cash flows of the company, which are discounted to the present value. So now let's understand relative valuation in detail. So as we have discussed, under relative valuation, we try to find value of the stock or assets based on how other similar companies or assets are priced in the market. So it's a comparison based valuation. Here in this valuation, we compare multiples. As we cannot compare absolute values of the stock, so we first convert prices of the stock into multiples. So multiples are basically standardized measure of value. So friends, we can compare this relative valuation approach with the valuation of real estate. In the real estate valuation, we do valuation of the target property based on how other similar properties are priced in the market. And as we cannot compare absolute prices of the property, we first convert those comparable properties price into standardized measure of value, say price per square feet, price per square yard, and based on this we compare, we value target property, multiplying this with the area of the target property. Okay, so let's do valuation of Infosys using relative approach. Friends, first we have to find comparable companies of Infosys which are already priced in the market, okay, which are listed in the market. So based on businesses and other characteristics of Infosys, we found following technology companies which are comparable to Infosys: TCS, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, L&T, and Mindtree. These are the technology stocks which are comparable to Infosys. Then in the next column, we have per share prices of these comparable stocks, the price at which these companies are trading in the market. Then in the next column, we have enterprise value. Enterprise value is basically valuation of entire firm. Okay, so these companies are having different enterprise value based on their size. Then guys, in the next column, we have EBITDA of these comparable stocks. EBITDA is basically operating earnings to the firm before depreciation amortization. So full form of EBITDA is earning before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization. So you can see in the first two columns, per share price and enterprise value, we have value of the company, but this is absolute value. And then in the next column, we have earnings of the company. Okay, earnings of comparable companies. Now guys, we cannot compare these absolute prices of these comparable stocks because these companies are different in size, which we can see from their earnings. Their EBITDAs are different. You can see their EBITDA. Their EBITDAs are different. So there is no comparison of absolute values of these stocks. Now friends, as we discussed, we cannot compare absolute per share price or enterprise value of these comparable companies due to the difference in the earnings. So we first have to convert these absolute prices into standardized measure of value. So what we have done, we have converted this enterprise value, which is absolute value of the entire firm, into standardized measure using EBITDA. So this enterprise value is what? Value of the firm, and this EBITDA is what? Earnings to the firm. Okay. In the next column, you can see we have calculated multiple, EV to EBITDA multiple, which is a standardized measure of value, where we have divided enterprise value with EBITDA of the companies to get EV to EBITDA multiple 24.4 times. This 24.4 times EV to EBITDA multiple of TCS is indicating that price of Infosys is 24.4 times to its EBITDA, or market is giving valuation to TCS 24.4 times to its EBITDA. Likewise, we have EV to EBITDA multiple for Wipro, which is 15.5, Tech Mahindra 11.4, L&T 25.7, and Mindtree 16.1. Different companies are priced at different multiple. But this EV to EBITDA multiple is comparable. Then guys, you can see below we have calculated industry benchmark multiples, median, 75th percentile and 25th percentile. So this median is indicating that average fundamental companies are priced 16.1 times to their EBITDA in the equity market. The 75th percentile multiple is indicating that stronger fundamental companies are priced at 24.4 times to their EBITDA. And this 25th percentile multiple is indicating that weaker fundamental companies are priced at 15.5 times to their EBITDA. So friends, we have three industry benchmark multiple here. One is applicable for average fundamental companies, which is median. So this is for average fundamental companies. One for stronger fundamental companies, which is 75th percentile. And this 25th percentile is applicable for weaker fundamental companies. So guys, we can see that companies which are similar to Infosys are trading in a range of 15.5 to 24.4 times to their EBITDA in the market. Okay, so this is what price range of technology companies which are comparable to Infosys depending on their fundamentals. Now friends, let's do valuation of Infosys using these industry benchmark multiples. So we first have to select what industry benchmark multiple is appropriate to apply for Infosys. And considering stronger fundamental of Infosys, we can apply 75th percentile EV to EBITDA multiple of technology industry. Okay. As LTM EBITDA of Infosys is 257.6 billion rupees. Now, implied fair value of Infosys based on other similar companies' EV to EBITDA multiple is 6298.6 billion rupees, which is based on 24.4 times of industry multiple. This is industry benchmark multiple, and this 257.6 is what EBITDA of Infosys. So as per industry, companies like Infosys are priced at 24.4 times to their EBITDA. So their fair valuation is coming 6298.6 billion rupees. Friends, this is operating enterprise value. This is the value of Infosys from its operation. In this, we would add non-operating assets value. Value of non-operating assets what Infosys is having in its balance sheet, which is equivalent to $87.9 billion. Sorry, rupees. Friends, this value of non-operating asset is not included in this operating value of Infosys 6298. Okay, so we have to add this value of non-operating assets over and above it. Okay, now total enterprise value, total value of the firm of Infosys is 6386.5 billion rupees, which is summation of operating value and non-operating value. Okay, then guys, from this enterprise value we have to allocate value to the other sources of capital to get balance value for equity. So we are subtracting here net debt, which is 27.9 billion rupees negative. Guys, net debt is basically total debt minus cash and cash equivalents. Okay, so we are subtracting cash and cash equivalent from the total debt balance, assuming this cash can be used to pay off debt. So the balance debt left with for Infosys is 27.9 billion rupees negative. It means the cash is more than the balance of debt. Then we will subtract value of non-controlling interest, which is 3.9 billion rupees, because they also have claim on the enterprise value of Infosys, and the balance value left for equity is 6410.5 billion rupees. Now we can divide this equity value into number of shares of Infosys, which is 4265 million shares. So my per share value per share of Infosys is coming 1503 per share. This 1503 value is based on relative valuation. It's based on how other technology companies are priced in the market. Now guys, we will move to our next valuation technique, DCF, discounted cash flow. So DCF valuation, it is also called intrinsic valuation, is a technique under which investment banker or finance professional try to value a company based on its future cash flows. Cash flows it is expected to generate in the future. Broadly guys, this DCF valuation process involves following steps. Step 1, projection of cash flows. As this valuation is based on estimated cash flows of the business, so we have to first estimate cash flows of the business. In the next step, we have to calculate discount rate, which can be WACC, WACC or KE, depending upon what cash flows you are discounting. If you are discounting free cash flows to firm, my discount rate would be WACC, weighted average cost of capital. In case you're discounting free cash flows to equity, your cost of capital would be K. Your discount rate would be K. Then guys, in the third step, we will calculate terminal value. And there are two methods to calculate terminal value. One is perpetual growth method and second method name is exit multiple approach. Guys, we have discussed about these two methods in our detailed video on valuation. So broadly, perpetual growth method is the method under which we calculate terminal value using a constant growth rate in the future cash flows. Under exit multiple approach, we calculate terminal value based on relative approach. In the step 4, we will discount projected cash flows what we have calculated in step 1 and terminal value, what we have calculated in step 3, using discount rate, what we have calculated in step 2. So basically we have to find present value of projected cash flows and terminal value. In the step 5, we will calculate DCF value, which is sum of present value of projected cash flows and present value of terminal value. So this is how we capture present value of cash flows of entire life of business or stock. Cost of capital. So friends, what the cost of capital is? Cost of capital is basically cost of equity. This is cost of equity, okay, multiplied by weightage of equity. This is weight of equity plus cost of debt net of tax. This is what? Cost of debt net of tax multiplied by weightage of debt. Okay, so this is what WACC of a company. Now, cost of equity of Infosys is coming 10.7%. If you multiply this with weightage of equity of Infosys, which is 97%, in Infosys capital structure, the weightage of equity is coming 97%, and cost of debt of Infosys, which is obviously net of tax, is coming 2.9%, multiplied by weightage of debt in the total capital structure is 3%. So 97% is coming capital coming through equity and 3% capital is coming through debt. My weighted average cost of capital of Infosys is coming 10.5%. Cost of equity is what? Risk-free rate plus risk premium 4.8%. Risk-free rate is the rate at which you can invest in the market without taking any risk, 5.9%, and risk premium is what? Applicable premium for Infosys considering its risk in the equity. It is coming 4.8%. If we add both, it will give me cost of equity. Risk premium is what? Beta of the stock, which is 0.71 for Infosys, multiplied by equity risk premium of Indian equity market 6.9%. So Indian stock market is giving 6.9% premium over and above risk-free rate, right? We multiply this with the riskiness of Infosys, which is measured with beta 0.71. It gives me 4.8% premium applicable for Infosys stock, which we add in the risk-free rate to get cost of equity of Infosys. Cost of debt. The gross cost of debt of Infosys is 4.4%. Gross means without considering tax shield. This is what the interest rate Infosys is paying on its debt, multiplied by 1 minus tax rate, 34.9%. This is basically tax shield. So if we net off tax shield from the cost of debt of Infosys, my net cost of debt of Infosys is coming 2.9%. Okay guys, so this is how we calculate cost of capital of a company. We have discussed this calculation of cost of capital in detail in our video on WACC calculation. So you can refer those videos. Now friends, in this slide, we have done DCF valuation of Infosys using projections of Infosys, projected cash flows of Infosys, and discount rate what we have calculated in the previous slide. So you can see here we have done projections for 5 years. My date of valuation is 31st December 20. So my first year of projection, my first year ending for Infosys is what? 31st March 2021, which is 3 months away from the date of valuation. Okay, then the next year is what? 31st March 2022. We have taken complete 12 months projection there. Okay, so we have done projection for next 5 years here for Infosys, and my free cash flows to firm of Infosys is this. This is projected free cash flows of Infosys for next 5 years. Then guys, we will discount these free cash flows to the present value, and we need discount rate for that. And here discount rate is 10.5%. Based on this discount rate, we have first calculated present value factor. This present value factor is basically value of 1 unit, present value of 1 unit. Okay, so present value of 1 unit in year 2021 is 0.98 today. Likewise, we have calculated discounting factor for all the years. Okay, then guys, we have calculated present value of free cash flows to firm, which is free cash flows multiplied by discounting factor, and we got present values of all future cash flows. In the first year of projection, we have considered cash flows only for 3 months. So these are the cash flows only for 3 months, not for the full year, because my valuation date is 31st December 20 and my first year ending is what? 31st March 2021. So we are left with just 3 months there. Guys, then we will sum up present value of all free cash flows to firm, which is coming 1014548 million rupees. All numbers are into INR, millions. Okay, then we will calculate terminal value, and we are applying here Gordon's growth method of valuation, which is what? Which assumes there is a constant growth rate in the cash flows of the company. Then the terminal value would be what? CF1 upon R minus G. CF1 is what? Next year cash flow, next year free cash flows. R is what? Discount rate, and G is what? Constant growth rate. Okay, so we have long-term growth rate here 5%, which is a constant growth rate, and considering this constant growth rate of 5%, my cost of capital is 10.5%. My terminal value is coming 7268081. This is the terminal value of Infosys at the end of year 5. Now we have to discount this terminal value to the present value, which is coming 4752667. So as this terminal value is at the end of year 5, we will multiply this terminal value with the discounting factor of year 5. Then guys, we will sum up present value of free cash flows and the present value of terminal value, and this will give me DCF value of the firm from operation. In this DCF value of firm, we will add value of non-operating assets as we did in the relative valuation 87920, and I'll get total value of the firm 5855135. From this, we will subtract value of net debt and non-controlling interest, and the balance value left for equity is 5879105. If we divide this with the number of shares of Infosys 4265, my per share DCF value of Infosys is coming 1378. Okay guys, now we got two different values of Infosys, one as per relative valuation and one as per DCF. In the next slide, we will summarize these two different values of Infosys and see how we convert this into a single value. So you can see here we have value of Infosys as per relative approach, which is 1503, and value of Infosys as per DCF approach, which is 1378, and we have assigned a weightage of 50% to both these valuation methods. So by applying this weightage of 50% to both these values, what we got? Average valuation of Infosys 1440.5 per share. Now if we compare this average valuation of Infosys with the current market price, as on 31st December 20. I think there is a mistake. It's not the price on 31st December 20. It is basically 6th March 2021. My market price of Infosys as on 6th March 2021 is 1317. So if we compare market price with the current valuation, with the fair valuation of Infosys, we can see this price is less than value. And there is an upside of 9% comparing this price with the fair valuation of Infosys. So we can see that Infosys is still underpriced despite a 65% jump in its share price over the last 1 year. Still the stock is underpriced, but slightly, not much, and there is a room of 9% upside if we consider fair valuation of Infosys, which is 1440.5. So friends, you can see in this video we have summarized various valuation methods we can use to value a stock and how we can use these valuation methods to take an informed decision about investment in a particular stock of the company. Friends, in case you have any more question about our stock market course, you can contact us on the contact details as given on the screen, or you can click on the link given below. Thank you so much.